Hi guys, today we're still on this Astra 2010 um, problems that we run through when we thought we're just gonna do a quick flip and have a little bit fun. It turned out that we'll have to do more mechanic work than I ever thought. So there we go. Today we're gonna look particularly at the drive belt. Now, why the drive belt? Okay, it's a very important component of the car engine setup. This is like a sort of separate kind of mechanism that really drives helps with the car running efficiently. And these components that you're seeing in the diagram, the water pump, alternator, drive belt, um, the air condition compressor. These are all very important components that the drive belt sort of propels. So what happened is when the engine starts and is turning, the drive belt runs these other components, the water pump, alternator, drive belt, air condition, depending on whatever car it is, may be running other things. So the propelling runs all these. The drive belt is the alternator is one very important component. That's like the powerhouse of any vehicle electrical supply. I mean, um, every what do you call it? Vehicle's electrical supply. And then you got the water pump, which makes sure that the water circulates properly to cool the car. If you've got air condition as well, really depend a lot on the compressor. So there we go. The drive belt is very important in this sense. Now, safety is very important. I am somebody who is very particular on safety. In fact, I spend um, almost half the time trying to make sure that the car doesn't come back on me, come down on me, and it's very important when you're working in uh, with a with the drive belt. You have to remove the engine mount where you see me um, playing with, not playing, I mean trying to remove. What happened was I tried to install it first, and I realized that it cannot go in. I mean I won't be able to put the drive belt in with the engine mount there. So this is just part of the engine mount you're seeing. It's not a big deal. There was where you can see where you see my hand is where the air box is, where the air filter is, and that makes sure that it filters every air that the engine needs to take, so that it doesn't take any debris into the vehicle, into the engine system, therefore causing other problems. This alternator you can see there, basically the drive belt is so important, but the engine can run for a short time without the drive belt, because when the engine starts it can work independently of the drive belt. But then when you're using the car and you're playing your music and you're doing other stuff like using the AC, you won't be able to use it. That you know, some cars, um, or most cars, have got their, the power steering is being propelled by the engine, and you need everything to be turning in order for this thing to work. So yes, your car can run without the drive belt, but then it won't be long before you start having problems, because if the water pump is not rotating and cooling things, then you're gonna have engine heating too much and things, metal expanding and stuff. So it is very important to make sure your serpentine belt, well, that's another name for it, fan belt. It's got so many names, but basically does the same work. It drives other components in order for the engine to run efficiently. So here I was. This was quite daunting because I wasn't prepared to do a video, but as I was going, I was capturing the moment. This is the time when I've already done the head gasket and all, and I was trying to put things together. So unfortunately, I couldn't film me taking it off. But the reverse is always true. The way you see me putting on is the same way it came out. So there we go. You need to make sure that um, the um, the drive belt go the right way, and it goes round the right cogs, because if it doesn't, you're more likely to snap it, or is more likely to dislocate. And the danger is if it comes off without you knowing, and you're driving and you're thinking all is good, you might run into some serious problems, and the engine might have problems. So there I was trying to figure out how to make sure the drive belt. I forgot myself a little bit of how this is supposed to go. So that's what you see me struggling there with. I had to put the belt in and then try to install this part of the engine mount, the one that attaches to the engine, and then put the rest of the drive belt around before trying to put it on all the cogs. I think I figured out eventually. As you can see, I think I figured it out eventually. So there we go. It's very important that you make sure that at least you have an idea of the diagram. All drive belts do come with a diagram, so in case you forget how it goes, they are all totally different. They are all different. So it's very important that you sort of make sure that you're putting it the right way, or better still, follow the diagram that comes with it. But some of us, we are just like, we just don't like to take we don't like reading instructions, and you can do it without reading the instruction. To be fairly honest, you just have to make sure that the smooth part of the driving belt goes around the smooth bit, like for instance, the tensioner and the idle puller. Normally they are is smooth, but things like, as you can see, like the what you can see, like the alternator there, that you can see is got some grooves that you need to align the part of the side of the drive belt in order to go into that groove. Normally the grooves are measured, so the drive belt should sort of go and sit in there without any much problem. You can see how I'm using my handy angle Milwaukee impact. This is very, very handy, and in fact, if you see how I'm struggling trying to get my hand into that tight corner, tight bit, when you're able to get your hand in there, these to make it very, very easy for you to just hold it, for it to just drill it in, rather than you using a spanner to go up and down. It makes the job go a bit quicker, slightly quicker than it should be. Right, so we've talked about the use of the drive belt. So you may ask the question, Why worry about the drive belt? Well, the drive belt goes through a lot of stress in its lifespan. So if you think about it, anytime you start the engine and you rev the engine and car is going very fast, how anytime you're driving the car, the drive belt is going, and it's only plastic. It's well, plastic, no? I'm I'm not sure what to call it, but you know what I mean. It's not metal. It's a flexible, hard sort of rubberized stuff with sometimes thread or whatever. And it's very, very important to change this over time because it goes through a lot of frictions and it stretches because it's plastic, of course. So, um, and talk about the heat and all the tension that it goes through. So, the recommendation, general recommendation, as I researched, is around the 40,000 miles mark, you should replace this, even if it's not worn, because if it's done 40,000 miles, then it's done a lot of journey. And it's not too expensive, you know. So if you, one of your services, your regular services, you tell the mechanic, please, can you change the serpentine belt or the drive belt or the fan belt for me? You know, I mean, it might cost you a little bit, but if you think about it, you're on the motorway and this drive belt snaps, you know, you're more likely to cause more damages um, than the how much it will cost you to add it as an added add-on for your one of your regular services. So yeah, it's one of those things where you have to make the judgment and weigh the pros and cons. If your car having done 40,000 miles, it's advised that you change it every 3 years because remember the weather is hot and it's cold and it's frozen. And basically the belt goes through a lot of stress, even if you haven't used it that much. Okay, so that's something that we should be aware of. So, what are some of the symptoms or some of the signs that will make you aware that there's something wrong with the drive belt? You hear squeaking noise from the engine. If you listen properly, probably will come around the drive belt area if you hear that squeaking. Um, but yeah, then you should suspect that something is going wrong with your vehicle, if not your drive belt. So if you hear any unusual noise, it could be the drive belt. All right. Also, when you take a sharp turn or when you start your car, you hear an unusual noise or a shaking, which tells you that the drive belt is having some kind of issue. It will show you that it will tell you that sometimes is a drive belt being loose and needing, it can get stretched because it's plastic, obviously. Now, over the years or over the usage, you may have cracks. The engine could cut something because things are rotating and stuff, so the engine could easily catch something and do a small split on it, and it may cause major problems in the end. So, um, I've spoken up a lot about, the importance of the drive belt. So, next time you're going to do your service, probably is something that you could ask your mechanic to to replace, just so you have that extra peace of mind. It is a fairly um how do I put it? I'm not going to say it's easy to replace your drive belt because obviously you'll have to think about the safety aspect of things, and also you have to have that confidence. But yes, you can. Yes, you can do it because I am not a fully blown mechanic, but I'm able to do this. You just have to have the right tool. As you can see, I'm tensioning. I'm trying to put the rest of the thing, the belt on round. And here you can see that I've made some mistake because it's not gone round correctly. So you can see, even though I have been able to put everything round, it is still loose. Now, if it is loose, you have to be worried. You have to be worried, and you have to make sure that it goes round the correct way. The main thing here is you need to make sure that you've got the right one, and also you have to make sure as well that you follow the guidance. Even if you put it on without looking, you should turn the engine a few times, like I was going to do in a minute. As you can see, turn it and make sure everything is running the right way. And also you should be able to twist the belt, to tilt it like 40 degrees angle with, you need to make sure that it's tight enough, but not too tight that you won't be able to rotate it. So there we go. We've been able to you know successfully replace this drive belt. So I thought I'll share with you. We got other videos coming, so please subscribe if you haven't done so. I am not a mechanic, but I'm going to lead you to buy a few tools if you're interested. Remember, all these work were done not in the drive, by the road. All right. So if you have a drive, you can do it. If you don't have a drive, you can still do it. Just make sure you're not obscuring anyone. And thank you very much. Please subscribe. And here I sign out. I see you on the next video. Thank you.